In this video, I will show you how to do on-page SEO to get a ton of traffic to your website. So first and foremost, when it comes to ranking on Google, you can't just write a blog post or create an article or create a website about something random, such as your favorite colors or something like that, your favorite hobbies, but you need to find what people are searching for on Google. So this is a proper business, and this keyword is just a fancy way of saying a search term or a search query, search question. Basically, the keyword research just means that you figure out what people are searching for on Google related to your industry and to your niche that you're working in, so that you can then create pages and articles and product pages and whatnot related to those searches to match the search intent of the person. And this is in fact one of the most important things to do when it comes to doing search engine optimization. So before you create a blog post or before you even create a website, you need to be sure that you understand what your target audience is searching for on Google. And there are many ways to figure out what people are searching for on Google, but the simplest option is to simply just open up Google, and preferably in an incognito mode so that your search history doesn't impact on what I'm about to do. So for instance, let's say that you want to create a tennis website and you want to get as much traffic as possible from tennis related searches from the people that play tennis from Google. So now all you literally need to do is you open up Google and search for tennis, how to, and these are your keywords. Or for example, tennis, what is, and these are also your keywords. So at its simplest, this is how you find topics that people search for on Google, because these are not just some random recommendations, but these are actually AI generated predictions that Google makes based on what you have searched here and based on what is the most likely outcome after you have typed in these words. So in other words, these are the topics that people are interested in. These are the topics that people are looking for information about. And these are all topics that you should cover on your tennis website if you want to rank high on Google and get traffic to your site. So that's essentially at its simplest what SEO is. Obviously, then you have competition, and we're going to talk about that a bit later here, but you can't just go ahead and start a random blog or a random website about a random topic such as crypto trading or something like that, because that might be way out of your reach. So now I will open up another super powerful SEO tool. And by the way, these are literally the only SEO tools I really use. So I use the Google one, and then I use this one, which is called SEMrush or SEMrush. And now I will show you some examples. So first and foremost, I can search for tennis here. And as you can see, if we choose Finland to be the audience or the country, you can see that tennis as a search term is 46% in keyword difficulty. So this is the metric that you want to check before you create a website about something. Because if this score is above 50, and especially if it's above like 70, there's literally no way for you to stand out, no matter what keywords you cover, no matter how good a website you build. And also those topics that are super competitive in the keyword difficulty, they have all those advertisements, they have all these AI generated answers, forum posts, and all that millions of existing competitors that have created content about that topic before you. So this is one thing you always need to do as a search engine optimizer. So you need to be sure that the topic that you cover has options or opportunities for you to do well in. So this score shouldn't be above 50 in my opinion. And you can use a tool like this to figure that out. And then also what you can do here is you can actually go ahead and let's, for example, do something different here. Let's do AI tools. So what you can do here is you can search for something like AI tools. You can do United States as the audience. And by the way, here you can already see how competitive this topic is. So it probably doesn't make any sense to create a website about AI tools anymore, because there's literally no way for you to stand out in that space. But what you can do also here is you can go to this keyword ideas section here at the bottom of the page when you scroll down a bit below. And here you can see 22,000, almost 22,500 keyword ideas. So these are all the topics that people are searching for related to the AI tools. So this is one way with which you can find topics to cover on your website. And I'm not going to make this a full SEMrush tutorial because I have left a link to a tutorial that I have made in the past where I showcase how to use this. But basically, this is how you will also find these topics to cover on your website. So if you created a website about AI tools, you should cover every single one of these keywords that you see here. So you should write about AI detectors, AI SEO tools, best AI tools, free AI tools, paraphrasing tools, and stuff like that. So that is basically how you do the keyword research. So you choose a topic such as tennis or weight loss or whatever it is, and then you figure out if the topic has competition and what people are searching for related to that topic, and then you cover all those topics on your website. And then speaking of covering topics on a website, then the next thing you need to do if you want to nail your on-page search engine optimization is to create high quality, valuable content. And what I mean by high quality content is that your blog post needs to be the best post about that topic on the internet. And yes, that might sound tricky, but it's not really about writing. It is actually all about providing information. And it's actually way easier than you think because in fact, these days people use like ChatGPT to write blog posts, and they might hire somebody for $50 to write a blog post about a topic that they have no idea about. So all you literally need to do is spend like 2 to 3 hours per topic, and you have probably whipped up the best piece of content about that topic on the internet, or at least it's very close. And to give a face to what I just said here, I will show you an example of a valuable piece of content that I have whipped up in the past. So here is a blog post about best AI headshot generators. So these are the AI tools that will take your traditional selfies and turn those into professional headshots. And I absolutely love these tools, and I created a website related to these tools. And right now you will see the blog post that I created. So the best AI headshot generators, this is covering the keyword of AI headshot generators and its derivatives. And now when we start to go through this blog post, please pay attention to how I have structured it. So as you can see, it's not about text anymore. So actually there is this table of contents where I summarize the best tools. I already show my results. I have these quick takeaways like the pricing, customization, speed, quality, and then I have links to these pages. And then after this table of contents, I'm adding a short introduction where I tell that I have spent over $2,000 on these, I have tested those, and then we start already with the content. So this is very reader friendly. So if somebody is busy and they just want to find a quick list of the best AI headshot generators, they will find one here. And if the person who's reading this blog post is not busy and they want to find out how these are used, what kinds of results I get with these, what are my opinions and whatnot, they can scroll past this section and they can start to read this blog post. And here you can see that almost at no point in this blog post is there a section where there's only text. So these days, search engine optimization is all about providing valuable images in the text related to that text in the blog post. And this is what your blog post should look like as well. And as you can see, it's not about writing. So I have never been a stellar writer. In fact, I don't think that I have improved as a writer that much when I have done search engine optimization. What I'm focusing instead is that I want to make these blog posts as easy to understand as possible, because that way you will reach out to the broadest audience as possible, and that way your content is also the most search engine optimized, because the more people can understand you, the better your site is, and the more Google and your audience appreciates it. So for example, if we take this text chapter here, I'm saying that the human editor can tweak facial expressions and features too. For example, I asked the team to remove a necklace from my image. That is pretty cool too. As you can see, the language is ridiculously easy to understand. I'm not using any fancy words. I'm not trying to outsmart my audience. This is literally just me describing the process of trying these AI headshot generators out. Nothing more, nothing less. And this is what your content should look like. So this is what I would call a high value, high quality, useful and helpful original piece of content. Then we will talk about writing titles and meta descriptions. So one thing you need to be sure is that once you write a blog post or once you create a web page, whatever it is that is meant to rank on Google, that it captures the potential visitor's eye when they are scrolling through the search results. And the only thing when it comes to doing this effectively is that you literally write a short title that tells the audience exactly what they should expect. So let's go back to the previous post that I just showed you. So as you can see, the best AI headshot generators of 2025. So this is a simple title. And the reason why I bring this up is because sometimes you see people writing titles like this. So for example, me testing the absolute best AI headshot generating software. Basically, this keyword is hidden here in the title because when people are quickly scrolling through the search results, they don't have time to read jargonized titles like this. And this is something that you might be tempted to write, especially as a beginner, because you have used to the idea that you want to give out as much honest and reliable information already in the title. So you might want to say stuff like me testing the absolute best AI headshot generating software, and you might add even something more to this which makes absolutely no sense. So a much better title is something like best AI headshot generators. And then one trick you can use is that people are drawn to numbers. So you can actually do something like of 2025 here if it's a list that is relevant to this year, of course. And then if you have, for example, tested 15 pieces of software, you can add that here as well. So this one right here is what I would call a search optimized title. So you have the numbers, you have a short and concise title that it reveals exactly what the blog post or the page is about. And then also one thing you can do is you can capitalize the first letters of every single word to make it look more professional. And actually, when it comes to these titles, there's also another term that is the meta descriptions, but I will actually put it in the parentheses because these days you don't really need to pay attention to these that much. So I will show you an example of what it is and how you can actually do it. So if we search for that how to tie a tie again, the meta description is this piece of text that shows up here, or for example, here, or let's do here. But now the secret about the meta description is that if you write your page's first section or sentence or whatever it is, a blog post article, Google will automatically pick that sentence as the meta description of this blog post. And that's actually a good incentive for you to write a good and short and descriptive start or intro to your blog post or your article, because that is also the one that is appearing here at the search results. And this is something that should capture the eye of the potential visitor, because before anyone clicks on your page, all they will see is this section here in the search results. So the title and the meta description should be absolutely perfect match for the visitor. So I don't know if I was unclear here, but what I'm trying to say here is that whenever you create a page, article, blog post, whatever, you should start it with a short and concise introduction so that it fits here in the search engine results pages as a meta description. So just one or two very short and concise sentences. And then one thing you also want to optimize is the URL structure on your web page. So let me show you an example. So this one right here is a good URL. So you have example.com/best SEO tips. And this is actually very similar to what you need to do with a title. So if somebody happens to see your link to the page only instead of seeing the title, for example, if this is in a WhatsApp group or if this is shared on social media or somebody's referencing to this article on another page, if somebody hovers over the link and they see this, From this link, they can instantly tell what this page is about. And that is also one way to search optimize your pages. Obviously, this does not have a huge impact on the success of your website. This is just one of the boxes to tick. But one thing you also see is that sometimes the URLs tend to look like this. So you have like the year number, then you have the month, and then you have the date. And then you have something else here. You might have some categories here or something like that. And then you also might have some auto-generated numbers. So imagine a URL looks like this. Now, if somebody sees this, they don't have the time and patience to go through all these paths here in the URL to figure out what this post is about. So if somebody only sees a link like this, they will probably not click through if they only get to judge based on the link structure. So it's best to keep it very short and simple. And this is super easy to tweak. For example, if you have a WordPress website, you can just go to the settings and to the permalink structure and change it there. Then another super important aspect on on-page SEO is creating a resource where your visitors will spend most time in. So that's where you can do internal linking. So you can create pages that are linked with one another. So if you have an article number 1 and an article number 2, you can link between those articles so that if somebody reads the article number 1 and they find it insightful, they will jump to the article number 2. Now, search engines also track this kind of behavior. So if people just see your content on Google, they find their answer and they bounce never to return, that is not good for your business. But if they read one article, then they read another one, that actually builds trust and authority. And also if you have a business behind your website, those people are always one step closer to converting into customers or doing whatever is a desired action on your website. So that's also a powerful way to keep your audience in your site. So it's truly not that much about search engine optimization, in fact, but it's all about creating a website that caters towards your audience and that is a useful, valuable, and a compelling and compact resource for your audience that they can trust and where they might happily return to. And then also something you definitely need to do when it comes to creating web pages is that you need to optimize your images to make your website accessible to everybody. So if I, for example, go to this resource, there are people that might not see these images because of visual imperatives or for a simple fact that they might be jogging and they might just listen to your content with a screen reader. And that's where you can add an alt text to your images. And that is, by the way, not the same thing as the caption of the image, because in the alt text, you can tell what is happening and what you see in the image. So I'm using Medium as an example here, but obviously you can tweak these settings on whatever platform you're hosting your content on. So for instance, if you have a WordPress website, you can just open up the right-hand side toolbar and click an image and set the alt text. But now I'll give you an example. So here is an image of an orange cat staring at its tail in a yellow background. So that is literally your alt text. So you can literally do something like an orange cat staring at its tail in yellow background. And these should be very short and concise because the screen readers will actually not read past 125 characters. So one-liner description at most. And this one allows your audience to listen to your content while still maintaining an idea of what's happening in the images that you have added to your blog post. And this is especially important these days because, as I showed you before, you should add a lot of images in every single one of your pages and blog posts. And now if you want to learn more about SEO, such as off-page SEO and technical SEO, just make sure to check the link in the description because there you will find a link to my other free tutorial where I discuss this whole SEO thing in one hour lecture basically. So see you there.